enduring hardships, the tears of pain I shed today will be the tears of joy I shed tomorrow. I'm Coach MJD Tiger, certified life coach and mentor, and we are on this journey together to find peace, passion, and purpose by enduring hardships and not getting knocked down and staying there, but to rise and to be more than we were the moment before and to grow in the next moment. And we can do that by focusing on our self-love, self-respect, self-control, and to bravely and boldly embrace who we are unconditionally. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up. How are you feeling? How are you feeling in your mind? How are you feeling in your body? How are you feeling in your heart? How are you feeling in your soul? Taking a moment each day to think in silence and to address each of these areas is a daily healthy practice that will lead you to your passion and your purpose and to balance you out every single day. When we ask ourselves through mind, body, heart, and soul how we are feeling, we get the answers we need and we know we need to focus on. How are you feeling? Trust yourself. Trust that you have it within you to get through the next moment. Trust that whatever is beyond your control, whatever is beyond the reach and the scale of where your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul can endure in this moment, trust that what's beyond you doesn't matter. What's behind you doesn't matter. What matters is this moment. Trust that you are strong enough to endure the next moment, the next obstacle, the next test, the next mountain, the next volcano. Trust yourself that you are making the right decisions and that you will stand tall and bravely and boldly endure the consequences of those decisions. Trust yourself that you are more than what your limited beliefs are telling you. Trust yourself that you are capable of being in a loving, healthy, non-toxic relationship. Trust yourself that you are everything you know you were born to be. Trust yourself that you will go further than you ever imagined through discipline, self-love, and self-control. You are here now. Trust yourself. Wheat Horizons, Episode 11, Facing Preparation and Expectations. My metaphor of the valley, the mountain, and the volcano, and repeat, because there is no end, it's infinite. We go through this cycle throughout our entire life, where we'll have these valleys of peace, introspection, reflection, balance ourselves out, and then we have to start moving again. We can't just stand in one spot in that wheat valley, so to speak, as a utopian tree, perfect and beautiful, but going absolutely nowhere. We have to move forward. Ahead of us is a mountain. That mountain symbolizes all the things that we know are obstacles in our life that we will inevitably face, that we have no control over. We have no choice. We have to face this mountain. We have to face the challenges that come along with this mountain. And then beyond that is the volcano. And I always look at the volcano as something that's more of a choice. You can go around it. It's going to take you a long time. You're avoiding something. But your true purpose is found at the peak, the apex, the climax of that trek at the top of that volcano. And you go over it and you go back down to the valley. And that volcano is the scariest part, because that's the part where you choose. That's where the crossroads moments are. That's the part of the journey, so to speak, that we have to make the most important decisions. And that is the one that, it's easy to make decisions when you're on the mountain, because that's stuff that we have to deal with. That's where your jobs are. That's where your friends and your family are. That's where, but there's obstacles. There's things that are happening. Your car breaks down. You lose your job, etc. Your church closes down. If you're deployed overseas, you got to go do another tour. Things like that. Things that we are a part of, we have no control over. But that volcano, those are things where those are built-in challenges for ourselves. Instead of going around, we're saying, I choose to go up this volcano. I could go around this. It's not like the mountains. You can't go around the mountains. There's always more mountains. There's fewer volcanoes. So choosing to go over a volcano, at least to go up it as high as you can, you run the risk of it erupting while you're on the volcano. That's why I like the metaphor, the analogy, because it's a representation of our lives. Looking at a moment where we have to make a decision to say, I'm going to go this path. It feels, or it could feel, like the equivalent of being on a volcano and it erupting right in your face. You made the wrong choice. But did you? Because we don't know what that choice would have been to walk around that volcano. A lot of bad things could happen down there as well. We might have escaped a lot of bad things by going up the volcano versus the long trek around it. So if we're still in the valley, which is the wheat horizons metaphor, analogy came from, if we're in the valley, we're looking ahead and we see the mountains and we see the volcano, it's time to face the fact that we can't stand here any longer. We spent time down here in the valley. It's been peaceful. It's been pleasant. We've balanced ourselves out. We've had introspection. We've thought about the people that have been on the journey with us. We've thought about a lot of things, good, bad, and ugly about ourselves, the darkness within ourselves. We've had time to think. Because remember, if you turn around, and we're not gonna head in that direction, we're just gonna turn around and look. You're going to see that volcano that you just went over and the mountains beyond that. That's where you just came from. Now you got to turn back around and look ahead of you. There's more mountains, there's more volcanoes. You have to start moving forward. The valley is not a place of permanent residence. It is a place to regather, take a breather. It's the calm before the storm. But now you have to face that mountain. It's time to start walking. How do we get ourselves in the mindset, in the state of being, to be able to go forward and face the volcano? But no, we have to also trek over those mountains. Now that choice of the volcano is there, but we have a new set of circumstances in front of us. Those mountains aren't the same mountains we just passed behind us. There's new people up on those mountains. There's new opportunities on those mountains. There may be future children on those mountains. There may be a future spouse on those mountains. There may be a new church on those mountains. Maybe a new job on those mountains. So who do we want to show up as when we're going on those mountains? Who do we want to be? What's the version of us that we're cultivating and creating and building upon in the valley? We have to start there. So what version of ourselves are we bringing forward to face these future obligations that we have no control over? The things that, yes, we have a little bit of say so over what job we work or what church we go to, or the people we have in our lives, where we're going to go as far as living. But what we don't have any choice over is the fact that we have to do those things in order to even consider ourselves living. Those are the fundamental basic things that we have to do to survive: food, water, shelter, family, friends, obligations, labor. We have to do these things. Technically, we don't have to, but most people, I mean, we have to, right? Especially if you have a family, if you have people who count on you, you have to go make money. You have to have shelter. You need food and water. You have to protect yourself and your family. You have to gain more knowledge. You have to acquire things that can make sure that you have everything you need to keep thriving in this world. So what version of yourself are you bringing there? And what expectations do you have as far as what you want from these mountains? Because that's the best part. It's not so much that they're there. We know that they're there. We know that we have to do certain things to become a better person, to be present, and to be able to even accept what may happen, good, bad, and ugly, on those mountains. Now, we'll focus on the positive here. You get on those mountains and you're not really prepared for some of the things that are going to happen. It's just going to set you back, and you're going to end up back in the valley again. Now, you may not end up back at the previous volcano and mountains, but you will end up back in that valley if you go up on those mountains and you're not prepared. And we see this in everyday life. We see people who get on jobs, not prepared for it, they lose them. We see people who get in relationships, not prepared for it, lose them. We fail at things because we thought we were more prepared for them than we actually were. We didn't do enough of the homework in the valley on ourselves. And not just do the homework, not just do the research, but we got to also take the final exams. You know, we have to be like lawyers. We got to get to a point where we're taking a bar exam. We're not going to be in school for 20 years. We're going to get in 3 years, get out. Get the degree and move on. That's what we're trying to do in the valley. We don't want to be there forever. What we want is to say, this is where I screwed up behind me. I'm going to address these issues. They may not be completely fixed, but I know I can move forward confidently, because when I get to those mountains, damn it, the person I'm bringing there is far better than the person that was on those previous mountains behind me. And I'm prepared. Now, how do we prepare? One of the things that has been a theme for the last two colorways, black and white, has been expect the unexpected, but not be surprised by anything. One of the ways to prepare for anything is to prepare for the unexpected and not be surprised by the unexpected when it happens. That is extremely important. Number two is, what are we using as foundations for ourselves? Do we have very clear and concise, defined values, morals, principles, and boundaries? Number three, who are we bringing along with us, and what do we expect from them? Who are the people that really are our bonds? We have bonds with and are our allies, I should say. Who are these people? Who are we bonded with? Who are our allies? What potential quote-unquote enemies are we going to meet up there? Am I going to turn someone who's not an enemy into an enemy just because I'm insecure with myself, because I wasn't prepared? And my expectations were completely out of whack. And that's the other thing. Overconfidence in what's ahead of us can trigger a lot of bad situations, because we may think that we're more prepared than we actually are. The problem is that we've made a checklist, but we've checked off all the boxes, but there was things that we didn't add that needed to be checked off. Those are the things a lot of times that are looking at us right in the face. Our integrity. What are we doing when no one's looking? Are we capable of being alone by ourselves and being happy with ourselves and keeping our own company? Because when we go on this journey, we're not always guaranteed to have somebody who is going to be there to support us. When you get on those mountains, you may end up alone. Again, expect the unexpected. Just because you're standing in the valley with a bunch of people and you're going to embark going forward with them doesn't mean you're going to finish the journey with them. You may just well end up alone. Or you may end up married with 15 kids. Who knows? That's how life works. But the most important thing is, what are the expectations? What are you looking to get out of moving forward? And what things can you do to make sure that those things happen without excuses, without limited beliefs, without broken boundaries, without toxic relationships, without PTSD and trauma ruling our lives? We have to prepare, but we have to take it seriously. And I think that's something that I've been trying to instill in a few people that I've been helping lately. It's taking yourself not so seriously, but taking your purpose seriously, meaning humor yourself. It's okay to smile and step back and make fun of yourself a little bit about some of the things you need to work on. That's healthy. It's positive. It's you can't control it anyway. A lot of things are out of control, so you might as well make light of the situation. You don't take yourself so seriously where you are just going to fail because your expectations are way too high. And again, this is about facing preparation and expectations. If your expectations of what you're going to get going forward are too high or too low, you've already set yourself back. If you set the bar too low, you're not going to move fast enough. It's not going to feel like anything. Nothing you do is going to feel earned. You set it too high, you're going to feel like a failure every single day because you're not getting to where you want to be because you're trying to go too high too fast. Doesn't mean you won't get up there. Doesn't mean that in time you won't achieve exactly what you're looking for. It just means you're setting the bar so high that if I don't have this thing, this relationship, this job, I'm a failure. And no one can tell me otherwise. These are the things that we start to loop in our minds. But in reality, you just set the damn bar too high. Just lower it. Lower it to something far more manageable. When it comes to relationships, lower it to the point where, guess what you're doing? You're accounting for yourself. You're bringing your best self, your happiest self into the relationship. So the other person can feel free to just say, thank you. Now I can just bring my happiness to the table and we can both grow something together positively. Same with jobs. You know, there's people out there who want a ton of money, don't want to work hard to get it. You want to have money, you have to go and you have to earn it. I mean, sure, we can find ways to have people hand us the money, but it's much more satisfying and much better for us as individuals when we've earned it by doing something, hopefully, that we somewhat enjoy. That's not giving us stress every day. That's not giving us a reason to look to quit or to just completely just not want to wake up in the morning and do anything. All based on a job, all based on money, material things. It's not healthy. Same with our relationships with our friends and our families. We want what we see around us. You know, we see other people with great relationships and great families and their family dynamics, and they're raising their children right, and they're good spouses, and the white picket fence and the dog and a cat. And we started to say, hey, when am I going to get that? You will when you earn it. It'll be there when you earn it. And that is part of the journey. It's not about teleporting to the next milestone. It's about trekking through hard work and discipline to the next milestone and not comparing ourselves to other people, because that's Again, that is a dangerous game to play. And we do this not only with ourselves, but we do this with other people. We'll compare people to other people. This person works harder than you. And the only way that person could say that is if you're doing the job of what the comparisons are. You have to do exactly both those people's jobs before you make that determination. And we do this in relationships. This person isn't good for you. Well, how do you know? Are you in a relationship? No. Then what are you talking about? It's things like that where we focus on other people and what other people are doing. We're making the comparison game where we're not comparing ourselves to anything really in any way, shape, or form that's growing ourselves. Like we're looking at other people and saying, hey, you should do this and you should do this and you should do this. But we're not doing that for ourselves. Or we are doing that for ourselves, but we're bullshitting ourselves into thinking that we're doing great when we're just mediocre, just like everyone else. But that's the human ego. We pump ourselves up to make ourselves feel better about things that otherwise, if we saw in other people, we would say that person's probably not doing that great. And I'm talking outside of material things, because anybody can go and rent a sports car and drive it around all day. It doesn't mean you own it. It's a material object. We can buy the best vehicle in the world and it can explode in the driveway. Guess who's still standing there? You. The same person that was standing there before you got the car. It's not about the material things. It's not about the houses and the cars and all the money. It's about you. What are you doing to make sure you are prepared for the things that are going to happen in the future, good, bad, and ugly? Are you prepared? What are your expectations? Unrealistic expectations is one of the more troubling things I've had to deal with in my life with certain relationships and people, for workplaces to, relationships to family members, even with myself. Having unrealistic expectations is to me is a form of almost like sabotage, because unless you truly believe you're going to obtain what you're reaching for, that unrealistic expectation, if you don't get there, it's almost like you're sabotaging the efforts you would put into the efforts you would put into getting something that is far more manageable. You're skipping that part and you're looking way ahead to this other zone that's off your path. You're on the mountain and the volcano's in front of you, but you're kind of looking off to the left and you see this little watering hole or something, or a mirage that's over there, and you're like, that's perfect, that's where I need to go, and when I get there it'll be perfect. The perfect spouse will be there, the perfect job, everything to be right there. But it's a mirage. It doesn't exist. So you end up getting off course, going on to this place, and you never find it because it was never there in the first place. You projected it right before your eyes. And had you had the clarity to really look at the situation for what it was, you would have seen that it could have been nothing else but a mirage. It wasn't real. And that's a real thing. Unrealistic expectations causes us to see mirages. We start saying, okay, I can do this. Now, there's nothing wrong with reaching high and having goals and aspirations. I encourage that 100%. I think it's extremely healthy to try to manifest beyond what you have and beyond your goals. But the problem is with that is that if ego gets involved and emotion gets involved, what you end up with is you're reaching for this stuff, but now you're emotionally invested in the fact that you need to get there. And there's a disconnect between the person who should be focusing on stuff that's much more manageable and can be obtained easily if the effort is put into. It's a disconnect between that version and the other version, which is like, I put this unrealistic expectation or goal on myself, and now I have to reach it because I told everyone about how I'm going to get to this goal, and now I'll feel so crazy if I don't reach it. I'll never regret it. It's like now you're going for it for the wrong reasons. Your expectations of that will not allow you to prepare for it, because you can't prepare for that expectation or that goal because you are too invested. You won't even know where to start. How would you know? How do you prepare for something that is completely out of reach. That'd be like going outside and looking up at the moon and saying, by the end of the week, I'm going to be on the moon. Now, theoretically, if you are a billionaire, maybe you can get there, and you can talk to Elon Musk, and maybe he'll figure out a way to get you up there by the end of the week. But for all the rest of us mere mortals who don't have Elon Musk, in their phone to call him up and say, build me a rocket to send me to Mars by the end of the week, or to send me to the moon in a couple of days, if you don't have that, you looking up there is an unrealistic expectation. And you can't prepare for it because there's nothing to prepare. You're not going. Now let's just bring it in, reel it in a little bit. Let's get back to reality and let's just start dealing with things that are here on Earth, right? What we can do is look at those mountains and those volcanoes, and we can say specifically those mountains, I'm going to face these things, but my expectations are going to be things that I know that are aligned with true accomplishment. Meaning, I've already done a lot of the legwork. I know I can do exactly what I'm reaching for. And the whole purpose of the volcano is that once I get it, then I can start building upon it. We're not reaching for stuff, we're building stuff. We're not hoping for stuff, we're creating stuff. We're creating scenarios. We're creating positive dynamics in relationships. We are sticking to the game plan of who we are and making adjustments as needed. Not trying to create something out of nothing just because we believe we can, because it's not going to work out in your favor. The whole point of having expectations that are manageable is that we can prepare for them. When it's time to face the next version of ourselves, so to speak, when we know, hey, I feel like I'm about to level up here a little bit. I feel like I'm in a place where I can add something new. I can get rid of something that doesn't serve me. When we can do that kind of thing, when we get to that place, we can prepare. We can start saying, okay, what do I need to do? I need to do this, I need to do that. And those two things or three things or however many things it is will lead me to at least lead me closer to my goal. But in order to do that, we have to feel deeply within ourselves, our intuition, and trust ourselves that we're preparing for something that we know we most likely will obtain. Because if any it can be taxing on us to be going after things that we really can't have in our lives because we don't even know how to prepare for it. But going for tasks that require steps, manageable steps, each task is something that can be worked on, remembered, written down, and done again easily. Something that leads to exactly what we're looking for out of our lives, which is usually aligned with purpose. And if it's not, if it's positive, it doesn't hurt. There's nothing wrong with saying I want to try new things. There's nothing wrong with saying when I get on the mountains, I want to meet new people. I want to try new things. I want to visit new places. That's what life is all about. It's about exploring all the things in life, not just standing in one place again in the valley, turning into a utopian tree and hoping that somebody doesn't come along and cut you down into little pieces and burn you for firewood. No phoenix is going to fly out of those ashes. You'll just be a pile of wood. But we don't have to worry about that if we know every step we take is through purpose. That every step we take when we put our foot down is landing on solid ground, solid foundations that we built for ourselves. This is our track. This is our journey. It's our path. We own it. And if we trust ourselves enough to say, what's in front of me, I need to deal with, and I choose to deal with it bravely and boldly, it's easy to prepare, and expectations will be easy to obtain. It's all about the mindset. And if no one has told you this today, I love you. You deserve to hear that. Salute to you all. The brave never fall. Learn, laugh, and level up.